Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play ChäoS Child. In the last episode, Takuru and Kazuki got some very unique insight into the nature of Kazuki's gigalomaniac powers, courtesy of the lightning-fast Nightheart, the hero legend of the original SO1, who was resurfaced on SO2. But more specifically, we actually now have a greater understanding of Kazuki's powers, because unlike most gigalomaniacs who imprint onto others through visual images, Kazuki's powers are more word-based, which is considerably more vague than images, essentially. And, well, this has pretty much proven to be the biggest detriment to Hana Kazuki's life ever since the Shibuya earthquake, as it pretty much renders her powers unpredictable. Because there is a clear difference between visualizing an image and visualizing a word, because different people have different impressions of the same word, which can pretty much lead to drastic consequences. And so it is the reason why Kazuki refuses to speak to anyone at all in proper words, is because even she has no idea of which word would inadvertently lead to a catastrophic domino effect. But for now, Kazuki and I spent all our time in this room doing nothing at all, and so another day slowly comes to an end. A few days ago, I never would have imagined I'd be living in a room with a girl from my club. Well, this is the student dorm of Hekio Academy, so I don't know how they'd feel about us staying here on such an extended basis. But then again, given what happened to Riko Haida and that whole situation, we really cannot afford to be interrogated by the police right about now. But sadly, nothing romantic had happened at all, which is definitely for the best, given the circumstances. All I did was watch the news on TV. I wanted to look online, but Kazuki was using the computer the whole time and wouldn't give it to me. Well, to be fair, it is her computer. In fact, everything in this place is hers, so we should just be grateful that we have a... Well, I say a place to stay, but there is the RV trailer in Miyashita Park. And you would have thought by now that Takuru would have actually had replacement clothing by now. Even now, Kazuki was seated in front of the only computer in the room, a low-spec compact laptop. There was an angry glare in her eyes as she stared at it. Yeah, things aren't going well in the land of SO2. It was like she was trying to intimidate her monitor. Her frustration was plain to see on her face, and also she is busy chewing on a piece of dried squid. Again. She was a totally different person than the one who'd cried as she told me about her powers 2 days ago. Actually, this was the Kazuki that I always saw in the club room, wasn't it? Yes, indeed. Though, if she punches a wall in here, Yeah, property damage is something to be avoided. She slammed her fist against the table in annoyance, and you're only proving my point there, Kazuki. I thought I could hear the sound of her gritting her teeth.
ゲームにそんなに熱くなるなよ。また負けたのか?
There's more to the story than that, but she was sulking. If you let her, Hanakazuki would spend the whole day playing video games. She would barely even eat. The only food in the room was dried squid and lollipops, both of which were available in enormous quantities. It freaked me out a little, honestly. But she still maintains, well, a well-ordered domicile. Of course, thanks to them, I was able to eat something without having to leave. Unfortunately, Takuru, one cannot live on dried squid and lollipops for too long. Kazuki ran her fingers through her hair violently, trying to vent her frustration. She'd been angry ever since yesterday. When I asked her what was wrong, she said,
この PC じゃスペック低すぎてまともにゲームできない。
So that's why she prefers the computer in the newspaper club room. Basically, she was having withdrawal symptoms from being unable to play her games properly with the appropriate specifications. Yeah, but sadly we all can't have high-running, top-of-the-line PC gaming computers. Nope, not us. Sheesh. Then she slowly stood up and headed for the door.
どこか行くのか?
うん。
For the past 2 days, she'd been unwilling to leave the room. She was probably still thinking about what had happened at the school. Even though they're not going to find anything because Riko Haida is now no longer of this world. Yeah, considering the fact that she's pretty much been disintegrated and not teleported since the portal device that Kazuki unwittingly brought into existence is only there in form, not function. I felt bad about it since I was the one who'd gotten her involved. Had she recovered? To some extent.
学校ゲームしに。
Yeah, she's had enough. She wants to go back to the club room.
お前な。
I was too shocked to say anything. Are you surprised at this point? She couldn't handle playing the game on her low-spec PC anymore. Sure, the one in the club room was pretty high-end, but I felt like I'd solved the mystery of why she was always playing in the club room. It was never clear if that computer belonged to the school or was somebody else's personal property. was one of the 7 mysteries of the newspaper club. I didn't really try to stop her. I didn't feel like going to school yet. But you're gonna have to go eventually because Kurusu is going to get very upset. Part of it was that if I did, I'd remember the terror I'd felt. But more importantly, I didn't want to answer all the questions I knew Kurusu and Ito were going to ask. That was why I'd spent the last 2 days cooped up in this room. No one knew I was here right now, except of course for Kazuki. I've been getting calls from Serika and Kurusu all day since yesterday, but I'd ignored them all. Can't do so indefinitely. I was sure Kazuki was going to leave, but instead she turned around once she got to the front door. Maybe she's forgotten something. It looked like she was still hesitant about going outside.
そんなにゲームって面白いのか?
I'd never been able to get into a game as much as Kazuki did. All I ever did was play a few to kill some time. Yeah, but for some people, MMORPGs are an entirely different story. But when I saw how Kazuki's life seemed to revolve around her game, I started to wonder what was so interesting about it.
なあ、さっき和樹がやっていたゲーム、僕もちょっとやってみていいか?
If she'll let you. Kazuki nodded, so I sat down in front of the PC. Well, that's definitely a positive sign. The game screen was still displayed on the monitor. Though I would actually say that it's not so much the games are interesting, it's that for people like Hana Kazuki, reality itself definitely leaves a lot to be desired. It was a Western game called Call of Counterfield.
これ、銃で撃ち合うゲームだよな。
One of those games. I think they're called FPS, right? Haven't played one of those in a long time. Short for first-person shooter. Game jargon, a genre of shooting games. The term refers to any game which is played in first-person view, but especially games where the player controls a character with a gun who fights enemies on foot. In an FPS, the player's character is not displayed on screen, except for certain parts such as an arm or the weapon they're holding. One of the most popular genres of game in North America. When the character's whole body is displayed on screen, the game is referred to as a TPS, or third-person shooter. Basically, think of games like classics such as Doom and the like.
How do you control?
With a mouse and keyboard. Yeah, usually WASD controls. Kazuki sighs at her disciple's lack of understanding. Kazuki sighed a little and came over to me, clearly disappointed.
Mouse, 手を乗せて.
She moved my hand to the mouse. My hand was on top of the mouse and Kazuki's hand was on top of mine. She was so close. She was right on top of me.
移動はキーボードの W, A, S, D. ダッシュはシフトキー。グレネード投げるのが G。
Yeah, classic keyboard controls. I was too focused on Kazuki to listen what she was saying.
じゃあ、やってみて。かも。
Kazuki started the game without me. I was placed into a lobby while the game matched me with someone else. But only for a second before it threw me right into the middle of a match, which is usually how it goes.
なんだこれ。
I was so caught off guard that I panicked a little. And when I moved, the screen was jerky. It was really hard to control. Even if I found someone to try and shoot, they'd shoot me first and I'd die. Yeah, internet lag can be a problem. I ended the game with 0 kills and 31 deaths. Yeah, Takuru is definitely not very savvy when it comes to first-person shooters. I mean, I myself occasionally used to play Quake back in the day. I believe Quake 4 actually. Ah, the days of internet cafes. Those were the days. That was yeah, not good. That is the understatement of the millennium when it comes to Kazuki. I don't know how Kazuki managed to play when the screen was this jerky. The computer's specs weren't nearly good enough. I felt like I understood why she was so stressed out. But the cost of getting high-end graphics
Takuru 先輩、下手くそかも。
is pretty steep. Also, yeah. As unflattering as that is also not inaccurate.
初心者だし、画面カクカクだし。それにその腕に触れているのが気になって集中できなかったから。
She kept whispering, "Not that way, dummy. No, not there." In my ear too.
手だってずっと置きっぱなしだし。
Kazuki's right hand had been on top of mine during the whole game. Yeah, and it's only now that Kazuki realizes what it is that Takuru's trying to say. Kazuki seemed to finally notice how close we were. She was right next to me, so close that I could feel her breathing. Her eyes went wide and her face flushed red. Her breath tickled my cheek. Neither of us had showered in 2 days, so I could smell the sweat on her body. She would probably do something about that. Showering, I mean. We were close enough to kiss. Cool Cat Press would tell me that this was a sign of... You know what? I've had enough of Cool Cat Press. This whole shtick is getting really tiring right now. And we were alone in her room. I couldn't take my eyes off her soft lips. This was bad. I didn't know what was going on, but this had to be bad.
Kazuki.
Yeah.
うん。
僕は。
And there's the doorbell. I suppose it was only a matter of time before somebody was eventually going to find this place. Suddenly the intercom rang. I came back to my senses and leapt away from Kazuki. That scared me. Not nearly as much as the person who's actually doing the ringing, but it saved me too. If it hadn't interrupted I might have put my hands on Kazuki. That was something that superficial normies did. I wasn't like those normies, even though you claim to be a normie yourself. I was a more stoic sort of normie. Stoic, right. Yeah, that's right. I would actually say that with intense sarcasm there myself. Yep. Kazuki glanced at me as I tried frantically to calm myself down, then picked up the intercom receiver. Wait, she didn't talk on the intercom either. How was she supposed to communicate with anyone? Surprisingly well, it seems. Kazuki slowly put down the receiver. It looked like she managed to communicate with them. She turned to me. It looked like something was troubling her.
いや、喋っていいよ。ていうか喋ってくれ。
野々先輩が来たかも。
Yeah, that's trouble. That's definite trouble. 110% trouble. That's right. Just talk normally. It will take more than a word or two to do me. Words are not the thing that are going to do me right now. You haven't realized.
Huh?
And now he does. Well, it was nice knowing you, Takuru. Commiserations. Nono was here. Yep, Kurusu herself. I was doomed. Very, completely, utterly doomed. Why would Kurusu visit Kazuki's room? Maybe because she put two and two together. Of course, there was only one reason.
学校には来ない。トレーラーハウスには帰ってこない。青葉寮にも戻らない。セリカのところにもいない。伊藤君のところにも行っていない。
Yeah. So through a process of elimination, Kurusu finally managed to track down Takuru.
となれば、その次の選択肢はここでしょう。タクルは友達少ないから、新聞部の部員以外に頼れる人はいなさそうだし。
Very astute of you.
まさか本当に和樹の部屋に押しかけているなんて夢にも思わなかったけど。
Stranger things have happened. I was relieved to see that Kurusu looked healthy. I probably didn't have to worry about her knife wound anymore. Not right now. But she was mad. This was the extra mad version of Kurusu. I knew it was my own fault for calling Serika once on Tuesday morning and then ignoring everyone's calls. I wanted to run away if I could, but unfortunately, that window of opportunity has long since closed.
それで聞かせてくれない？まずどうしてタクルが和樹の部屋にいるのか。
Yeah, it's actually a fairly detailed story. That's where she wanted to start. She didn't care about what happened when I was attacked by the pyrokinetic.
タクル、答えなさい。
成り行きで。
月曜日のことが関係しているの？
Kazuki and I both nodded at the same time.
そう。だからって同年代の女子の部屋に3日間も居座っているのは高校生としての自覚に欠けると思わない？
Good point. You could tell she was the student council president.
和樹に迷惑だと思わないの？
それは
You'd be surprised.
ううん。
Kazuki shook her head. She was embarrassed for some reason. Evidently, she hadn't thought it was a bother.
本当に？タクルが先輩だから遠慮しているんじゃない？
Kazuki kept shaking her head. You do remember what she does on a daily basis, right? She seemed to have no intention of talking. Yeah. Unfortunately, we will have to explain to Kurusu the gravity of the situation, the burden that Kazuki carries.
もしかしてあなたたち付き合っているとかそういうこと？
It's more recovering from encountering Riko, but and now it's Takuru's turn to emulate Kazuki. Both Kazuki and I shook our heads as hard as we could. I mean, well, I could understand where she'd gotten that idea.
そうなの。
For some reason, Kurusu looked a little relieved. Yeah.
タクル、もう大丈夫なのよね？
By okay, she probably meant what happened Monday. Yes, indeed. I was sure she'd been worried too.
大丈夫だと思う。僕らを襲ってきたあの女はもう渋谷にはいないはずだから。
Yeah. She isn't anywhere right now. Of course, I didn't say that it was because we'd killed her. Also, yeah, just remembering the fact that Riko's blood is still on Takuru's school uniform, and if he hasn't put it through the laundry, I think we can say goodbye to said uniform.
だったら学校に出てきたら？セリカや伊藤君を心配してる。
Yeah, about that.
家に一人でいるのが不安なら青葉寮に来ればいいし。
そういうわけにはいかない。もしかしたらあの女の狙いは最初から僕だったかもしれないんだ。
Even if the odds were low now, they weren't zero.
だからクルスや尾上と一緒にいると巻き込んでしまう。青葉寮には父さんやユイやユウトもいるんだ。
カズキなら巻き込んでもいいっていうこと？
Well, the circumstances are fairly complicated.
それはカズキはすでに巻き込んでしまったんだ。だから
Kurusu stared at my clothes. I hadn't changed out of the blood-stained shirt since Wednesday. Kurusu would really be worried about that, of course, for several reasons. God damn it.
やっぱり学校での事件はあなたたちが関係していたのね。
I nodded.
一体何が起きたの？
Well, we're gonna have to tell her sooner or later.
カズキは
Kazuki and I looked at one another. But Kazuki quickly looked down. Well, he can't conceal the truth forever. Even if it means protecting you. I needed to keep her power and what we'd done at school on Monday a secret.
僕を助けてくれた。そのおかげでカズキまで狙われる可能性がある。それだけしか言えない。
It's a very good thing that Hanai isn't here right now. Because Hanai would have seen through that carefully constructed lie.
これはクルスや尾上たちを巻き込まないためでもあるんだ。分かってほしい。
いつもと同じね。
Pretty much. Kurusu smiled sadly.
いいわ。
クルス、僕は
Kazuki suddenly offered us both a lollipop. She was trying to say that these were for us, evidently.
ありがとう。まったく、セリカとは違う意味でマイペースな子ね。
Yeah. Kurusu chuckled and sighed, then took the lollipop. She didn't put it in her mouth, though. I took it, unwrapped it, and then plopped it in my mouth. Tasted like strawberry. A cloyingly sweet flavor soon filled my mouth.
カズキはタクルに迷惑かけられてない？この際だから言いたいことがあれば言っていいのよ。
Yeah, about that.
いいの？そう。タクルはあなたにとって先輩だけど、ここはあなたの部屋なんだから、主張するところはきちんと主張していいんだからね。
The ground rules have already been set.
それとカズキ、あなたお風呂入ってる？入ってないでしょ。タクルがいるせい？
Kazuki's face became beet red as she shook her head. It wasn't my fault. It was because she'd been playing too many video games.
私がタクルのこと見張っているから、今からシャワーだけでも浴びてくれば？その後で買い出しに行ってくるわ。どうせちゃんとした食事してないでしょ。簡単なものだけど作ってあげる。タクルの着替えも必要でしょうし。
あ、それは
Yeah, yeah, she definitely has a point. That would be great.
ほら和樹、ささっと動いて。
Kurusu practically shoved Kazuki into the bathroom. Before long I heard the sound of falling water. And cue the awkward silence again. This was awkward. It was awkward enough being here with Kurusu, but I could hear almost every sound Kazuki made as she showered.
和樹はタクルに心を開いたのかしら。
To use a certain phrase, I can't say.
セリカと違って和樹は誰に対しても壁を作っているから。
Yeah, but that's because she has to.
あの子を見ていると時々ね、新聞部に勧誘してよかったのかなって思うことがある。
Well, it's the only place where she feels like she belongs. Not to mention the fact that it has the high-tech computer with which she can access SO2.
そういえば和樹を部に連れてきたのってクルスだったな。
Ah, so it was Kurusu that introduced Kazuki to the newspaper club.
ええ、新学期が始まって何日か経った頃かな。その日は風が強くてね、あの子一人でプリントの山を運んでいたんだけど、それが風で飛ばされちゃって困ってた。
That was unfortunate.
だから拾うのを手伝ってあげたの。
Luckily Kurusu was
で
there,
も
obviously.
あの通り全く喋らないでしょ。この子大丈夫かなって心配になって、職員室まで私もついて行ったのよ。そしたら和樹が何も言えないのをいいことに、担任の先生から余計なことまであれこれ頼まれちゃっていて。和樹が断れないでいたのを見かねて口を出したの。そんなことがあって部活に入っていないなら新聞部においでって誘ったんだけど、おとなしそうだったから部活動とか興味ないかもって思ってた。そしたら何日かして部室にひょっこり顔を出したから、私の方がびっくりしちゃった。
Well, it's certainly natural that Kazuki was grateful to Kurusu for helping her out. So that's how it happened. I was just like Kurusu.
でもあの子が何を考えているのかなかなかわからなくて、私に言われて仕方なく新聞部に入ったんだったらどうしようって今でも時々考えるの。
本人は毎日部室に来ているんだからいやいやっていうことはないと思う。
The main reason was probably to play video games. Definitely, maybe. But now I knew why Kurusu was more concerned about Kazuki than anyone else in the club.
和樹はきっとクルスに感謝してるんじゃないかって僕は思うよ。いやまあ実際はわからないけれど。
Well, you definitely hit the nail on the head there. I was mumbling and stumbling over my words because it kind of felt like I was talking about myself.
和樹のことお願いね。仲良くしてあげて。
あ 分かってるよ。同じ部員なんだし。
She really was nosy. That was why everyone counted on her so much as the student council president. And then the door to the bathroom opened and Kazuki came tumbling out. Probably shouldn't do that in the shower. In lieu of other clothes, she has a very convenient tracksuit there. And there was also noticed the one that was also hanging up there on the rack there.
ずいぶん早いわね。5分も経ってないんじゃない？ちゃんと髪洗ったの？
Yeah, she has, because it's now more of a sort of light grey instead of the sort of usual bluish colour. But yeah. I would counter Kurusu's statement there by saying that it's probably more prudent to shower in less than 5 minutes. Saves on water and also saves on energy as well. Her hair was a little wet, and her cheeks were a little flushed from the hot shower. I could smell the pleasant scent of shampoo. Why did she look a little cuter than usual now that she was out of the shower?
ほら、ちゃんと髪拭きなさい。
Kurusu smiled gently and started to dry Kazuki's hair with a towel.
そんなに慌てて出てこなくてもよかったのに。
Kazuki fidgeted as she let Kurusu dry her hair. And then her stomach rumbled. Both Kurusu and I burst out laughing.
お腹空いたのね。いいわ。タクルの着替えも取りに行かなきゃいけないし、ついでに買い出しも行ってくる。
Thank you kindly.
食べたいものある？何でもいいのね。
For some reason, Kazuki got on the ground and bowed in gratitude. About an hour later, Kurusu came back and made us a simple meal. The table was lined up with fried ginger pork, tofu and onion miso soup and a spinach salad. Quite a nice delicacy if I do say so myself. So it's a good thing that Takuru's clothes can now be replaced.
本当に簡単に作ったものだから味は保証できないけど。
It'll be fine. But I knew exactly how good at cooking Kurusu was. Until recently, she cooked for me every day, and Kurusu was best at simple dishes like these. She makes several of them in the blink of an eye. Kazuki was looking at Kurusu's face to see if it was okay to eat. The food, not your face.
どうぞ。
Just getting that clarification out of the way there. Kazuki put her hands together and bowed her head. She might not say anything, but she had good table manners. She took a bite of the ginger pork. After just one bite, her face broke out into a grin. Yeah, Kurusu's food is delicious. I didn't know if I'd ever seen Kazuki smile like that before. Don't think we have. Felt like I was seeing something really rare. Even rarer than a legendary Pokemon. She hadn't eaten any real food for the past 2 days, and normally she only ate lollipops and dried squid. Kurusu's cooking must have been a real feast for her.
気に入ってくれたみたいね。よかった。タクルも食べなさい。育ち盛りの男の子なんだから。
She was in her big sister mode now. But for now I would be the obedient little brother. My top priority at the moment was filling my stomach. Yeah, Kazuki really likes the food. Kazuki was staring at Kurusu in a trance, a small piece of ginger pork still sticking out of the side of her mouth. I'd already learned from Cool Cat Press what that expression meant. It was the look of a woman in love. Yeah, with food. Wait. Did Kazuki like girls? No. There was no way. She was probably just looking up to Kurusu because she was older. Was it Serika who told me that girls in puberty were like that a lot? Maybe.
ちょっとカズキ、ぼーっとしてないで、ちゃんと噛んで食べなさい。それと肘をつかない。お行儀悪いわよ。
Somewhat pedantic there. Hey Kurusu. Kazuki is grateful to you for asking her to join the newspaper club. I've been with her the whole time over the past 3 days. And finally I was starting to feel like I understood her. The disaster struck Shibuya 2 days after that. Oh god, what's happened? What's going on? The two of us were watching the afternoon news when they suddenly switched to a live broadcast near Shibuya Station. A young female reporter was leading a cameraman up the twisty, thin street that ran from the station to Dogenzaga. The text on the screen said, "Mysterious object appears in Shibuya. What is it?"
私は今、渋谷駅から徒歩3分ほどのところにある路地に来ているのですが。
It's another portal device. Why is this one here? Unless... Oh dear. This,
ご覧
is
ください。
bad.
あの謎の物体。
This is very, very bad. The reporter pointed to a 1-meter tall object that was floating at the end of the street. Both Kazuki and I recognized it at once. We'd seen it ourselves just a few days before.
ポータル装置。
Kazuki looked shocked. Her gaze was frozen on the TV screen. What was going on? Seems like the issue with Kazuki's gigglomaniac powers might have actually manifested again. There was no way the portal device could be on the street near the station. We'd seen it on top of the school. But is that one there now?
この物体は今朝になって匿名の通報があり発見されたものということなんですが。
An anonymous call, you say. Getting a bad vibe about that. The young reporter moved in front of the device and continued to speak.
現在、警察が詳しく調査中ということで、このように周囲一帯に規制が張られています。
Yeah. they're definitely being prudent. Also, definitely a good idea not to actually physically touch it with your own hands.
警察の話では爆弾の可能性もあるということなんですが。
No, it's even more dangerous than a bomb.
こうしてみますと、とても綺麗な形をしていますよね。
Definitely, it sparkles, but yeah,
ぼ
be
ーっと光っていて
cautious.
すごく幻想的です。夜暗くなってから見てみたいなって個人的には思うわけなんですけれども。不思議なのはあの物体、支柱のようなものがどこにも見当たらないということなんです。
Yep, it's just floating in midair.
どうやら空中にふわふわと浮かんでいるらしいのですが、一体どういう原理でそうなっているのか。
Technology beyond your understanding.
おい、なんだあれ。
The cameraman on the TV show was never supposed to speak, but this one did. Which is again an omen of bad news. The reporter stopped talking and turned around to face the portal device. The camera showed that it was changing. Wait, what? The whole portal device was starting to emit a golden light.
ご覧ください。物体が先ほどよりもずっと、これは強く光っているように見えます。
Yeah, that's definitely not good.
何があったのでしょうか。現場は騒然となっています。
Everyone's panicking.
離れて、危ないから離れて。
あ、警察官の男性が我々にも下がるように言ってきていますね。
Yeah, should probably listen to him.
やばくね。
でも、とっても綺麗じゃないですか。行きましょう。
Not a good idea.
いや、おい。
The reporter gave a signal to the cameraman and started to walk toward the device. I gulped as I waited to see what would happen next. It's not a good idea to get close to that, I said in my mind. But I think it's too late. Of course, no matter what I said here, the reporter on the screen couldn't hear me.
この物体、一体どういう原理で光っているのでしょうか。
That's probably the reason why they're telling you to get back.
よく見るとこれ、細かい光の粒が物体の周囲を渦巻いていますね。まるでアートのようです。あ、光の粒がゆっくり集まりつつあります。わあ、綺麗。
Yeah. No, probably should leave now.
昔の SF 映画などにあったホログラム映像っていうんでしょうか。あれに似ているようにも見えますが。
No, it's no hologram, and it's not from a movie.
この形は何かの動物を表現しようとしているのでしょうか。動物、いや、それとも恐竜とかだったりするのかもしれませんね。
Oh no, I'm getting a very bad vibe from this. Remember what Neidhart said about the whole telephone effect of Kazuki's powers? Yeah, starting to get real bad vibes now. The reporter was as chipper as ever. She was speaking in the same way she'd do at a food report at a local restaurant. I could see death flags popping up everywhere. Death flags all over the place. I had a bad feeling. And I couldn't help but remember the last look on that woman's face before she disappeared a few days ago. Yeah. If that object on the screen was the same thing, this reporter was going to disappear as well. I looked away, not wanting to see it. I could hear the reporter raise her voice in surprise. I looked back at the monitor.
なんだ
That's no dinosaur. That is no dinosaur. This could be one of two things. It could either be a dragon, a demon, or a hybrid of the two. Yeah. Gonna say that what this woman unfortunately said may have affected the device in question. Yeah. But either way, this creature has now been rebooted into existence. And I saw a monster I'd never seen before. But Kazuki would recognize it. I think. I hope. I thought I'd switch the channel somehow, but I could see the reporter on the same screen as the monster. At first I thought it was CG. This is no computer generation, however. That's how unreal it seemed. It looked like a dinosaur. Yeah. That whole thing about careless talk costs lives. Really good to take that to heart. Its skin was... Wait. Its skin was bright red. Its legs were as big as a human torso. Skin is green. There's definitely a green-grey tone to it. I don't think I'm that colorblind. And it had giant wings on its back. Its wicked-looking black horns bent inward toward its jaw. There were 5 orbs like jewels shining on its forehead, way up there. I couldn't see any eyes where you might expect them to be. Even on 4 legs, it was over twice the height of a human. And there were fangs in its huge mouth. The particles of light had come together to form that monster, and the TV camera had captured every second of it. If it wasn't CG, it was unreal. Take away the part now and you have the reality of it. And the monster was moving too.
逃げろ
Probably should have done that before, but it's too late now. I whispered without even thinking about what I was doing. But the reporter was getting excited instead.
すごい！これは一体どういうマジックが起きたのでしょうか？
Yeah, magic is actually a very apt appellation right about now. You should be running away. You should literally... Not that it's going to do you tragically any good at this point.
何もなかったところに突然こんな大きなトカゲ、恐竜のようなものが現れました。
Yeah. Right as you were saying that the particle shapes represented a dinosaur.
大きいです。しかもちゃんと動いてますよ。まるで本物みたいです。
Oh, there is no like about it. It is a real monstrosity.
一体どういう仕組みなのか本当に不思議です。
Oh dear. Serika. The reporter had gotten close to her and had swallowed her head in one bite. Kazuki suddenly gave a start and screamed. The monster finished gnawing on the reporter's head and grabbed the headless body in its mouth and shook it violently. Oh, the cameraman screamed and the video shook violently too. He must have thrown down the camera and ran. The image was a fixed shot of the monster's legs and the bloody head lying on the ground. Well, this situation has turned all kinds of bad. This is actually the worst thing that could have possibly happened. Yeah. And I don't even think the people responsible for the return of the new generation madness could ever have anticipated something like this into their plans. And then, oh god. The monster roared. I think it's safe to say that everyone in the entirety of Shibuya heard that unsettling cry. Its thick legs started to move. Unfortunately, Godzilla is not around to deal with this creature. Unfortunately, this isn't Tokyo after all. Or, well, it is. This is Tokyo, and yet it isn't. It kicked the woman's head away. Wait, I thought it ate her head. And then apparently stepped on the camera since the video cut out. Yeah, we have a situation on our hands. We have a very, very dangerous situation on our hands. Then the TV switched back to showing the studio, where the newscasters and commentators were pale and sickly looking. Soon the image changed to a field of flowers with a message reading, "Please stand by." We don't have time to stand by. A dragon demon has now manifested into the world of reality. This was a nightmare. That was a live broadcast, right? That meant all of that really happened. Kazuki was covering her mouth with her hands and shaking. Yeah, where's lightning fast Nightheart when you need him? When you need him most. Her eyes were fixed on the TV screen.
今のなんだ
Kazuki slowly turned toward me. It's not your fault. She was too shocked to speak.
今のはなんだ
I ran over to her and started to shake her shoulders. You're not helping matters, Takuru. She forced out the words with tears in her eyes.
フレームアークドラゴンかも。
Yeah, it's a dragon. Definitely dragon. Yeah.
S2 に出てくるモンスター。
A very powerful monster as well.
レアモンスターだけど序盤から出てくるからS2 のユーザーじゃ有名かも。
それってつまり
私の妄想まだ。
Yeah. They're still having an effect.
反響続いてるんだ。
Yeah, that's we're in the worst possible situation. So a fictional monster appeared in reality, even though that woman clearly didn't demonstrate that she knew anything about SO2. Kazuki didn't make any kind of wish like that Monday night. So where did it come from? Had the words she said changed somehow? But she was just saying random objects. Kazuki can't control her own powers. I remembered what Neidhart said and shuddered. A minute later, I booted up SO2 and saw that Neidhart was logged in as well. I decided to talk to him immediately. There is no way that Takumi could have overlooked the fact that a giant monster that a flame arc dragon has suddenly appeared in Shibuya. Yeah, ad channel, of course. Of course. God damn it. Yeah, funny that. I remember the DQN puzzle. He was enjoying all of this. What an asshole. To be fair, you're not entirely wrong. Takumi Nishijo, when he's playing the role of otaku, which is pretty much most of the time, can be a bit of a jerk. No, but I guess I was the same when I was following the return of the New Generation Madness with the newspaper club. Except that back then, Takumi was trying to avoid New Gen altogether. Yeah. Oh, of course we do. We know all about the Committee of 300. Well, yes and no. But we do know the Committee of 300. Oh, they're real, Takuru. Yeah. Yeah. Wataru Sakuma was one thing, but a flame arc dragon? Entirely different matter. Even they would not ignore a dragon manifesting into reality. God damn it. You have a point. Ah, so the other one's still on the roof. But why hasn't it vanished? That wouldn't explain the fact that it had blood. Yeah, you have a point. Yeah, it's eating people. Regular police are these aren't going to be that much helpful, but oh god. Well, this is definitely proliferating at an unfathomable scale. Of course you can't help. You, yeah. We can't rely too much on Takami's powers. Yeah. It's definitely for the best. God damn it. A vast conspiracy that controls the world from the shadows, huh? Like the organization. That sounded like bullshit. Even movies didn't have plots like that these days. And so there was nothing I could do about that. I'd leave it to Neidhart. What was more important to us was the portal device and the dragon that is now killing people.
調査か。
Yeah, Kazuki has every reason to be terrified. Kazuki was looking angrily at the log of my conversation with Neidhart. I gritted my teeth too. Even if we did investigate the portal device, what were we supposed to do then? If it was created by Kazuki, would we be able to destroy it or get rid of it? I'd have to deal with the dragon
いや、
on top of
それを
that.
含めての調査だろう。
Even if she couldn't control her powers, it was Kazuki who created it. She couldn't pretend to ignore it, a fact that she knows only far too well. There was even a dragon running around now. More people could die.
行くしかない。か。
You know what the tragic thing is? Thinking about this and investigating it could actually make it worse, given the nature of how this came about. We might be attacked out of nowhere like we were before. That's why I hadn't wanted to leave, but I wasn't tough enough to just leave something that dangerous out there and hide near forever. I ran to Harajuku and got a cell phone so I'd be able to keep in touch with the others, and then called Serika after school.
ああ、タク、どうしたの？学校来る気になった？でも残念。今日は昼過ぎから休校になったよ。
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
休校？
渋谷が封鎖されちゃったでしょ？だから学校も。
Yeah, it's not surprising that they've shut down Shibuya.
そうか。お前は今どこにいる？
ラックスでお茶してるよ。こっちの方は封鎖されてないから。
Wonder why.
ちょうどよかった。頼みたいことがある。
I told her I wanted to know how many portal devices had appeared in Shibuya.
私は別に手伝ってもいいけど。
なんだよ。
のんちゃんが危ないことはやめなさいって今目の前でプンプンしてる。
Yeah, bit too late to do that now with giant dragon roaming around. I think not investigating is out the window.
今すぐ電話代われっていう無言のプレッシャーをビシビシ受けてるよ。
そうか。
Yeah, but unfortunately we need to do something about this phenomenon, and quickly before it gets worse. So Kurusu was with her too, what a surprise. Of course I could understand why she'd be mad. Just like Serika had said after the shocking incident on the news this afternoon, the police had sealed off Shibuya over the course of a few hours. The number of people on the streets was dropping fast, either because they're evacuating or because they're being eaten by the dragon. Supposedly the National Diet was holding a debate about bringing in the self-defense forces, which they probably should mobilize them. Of course, they still hadn't gotten rid of the portal devices or the flame dragon. Speaking of which, heaven forbid it breathes fire. Kurusu probably wanted to tell me that there was nothing an amateur like me could do. This wasn't like the other investigations the newspaper club had done. Yeah, especially when reality itself is now being invaded. I glanced over at Kazuki. She was looking down silently.
こんなこと言っても信じてもらえないかもしれないけれど、あの化け物が出てきたの僕と和樹のせいかもしれないんだ。
Yeah, we probably should have told them earlier.
詳しくは話せない。とにかく調査の目的は単なる好奇心じゃない。
Too late for regrets.
あの装置とモンスターを何とかして消すための方法を見つけたいんだ。
そっか。
There's really nothing more we can say right now. I guess that wasn't enough to persuade her. Or so I thought.
オッケー。のんちゃんは私が説得する。
Good luck with that.
本当か？
それと、しんちゃんも連絡欲しがってたから協力お願いしてみたら？きっと喜ぶと思うよ。
I'm sure he would.
ああ、そうだな。連絡してみる。
で、タクは花ちゃんと一緒？そっちは2人で行動するの？
ああ、そうするつもり。
Yeah, that's the only option we have.
じゃあ、私は深センから渋谷駅の方へ向かってみようかな。のんちゃんとお散歩デート。
頼む。
Speaking of Kurusu, she's probably upset that she's not being allowed to talk with Takuru over the phone.
ただし、もしポータル装置を見つけても絶対に近づいちゃダメだからな。
オッケー。
それと、日が暮れる前には家に帰るようにしてくれ。クルスにもそう伝えて。
オッケー。
本当に分かってるのか？特に尾上はマイペースに突き進んでいくところがあるからな。
Yeah, about that bad habit.
そうかな。そうかも。でもほら、私ってコソコソするの得意だし、誰にも見つからない自信あるよ。
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all.
それは知ってるけれど、とにかく注意して行動してくれよ。
オッケー。じゃあ報告は明日ってことでいいかな。
学校は明日も休みだっけ？だったら昼頃に部室に集合しよう。
オッケー。
After I finished giving my instructions to Serika, I made the same call to Ito. When I asked for his help, he was a little too eager to agree. He seemed like he'd been really bored these past few days. Wonder why, dripping with sarcasm. And the frustration had been building up, he said. So I had him head north from Ibisu towards Shibuya Station. Once I finished telling him everything he needed to know, I hung up.
和樹、僕らも行こう。
Indeed it is. We decided to head from the dorm to the station, checking every back street and alley we found along the way. First thing we did was head for the school, and that's what we agreed to. It was dead silent. There wasn't a single car. Not only were there no ChäoS students, there weren't even any pedestrians. Which is probably actually for the best. And yeah. Yeah, at least we're not hearing the sound of the dragon, which, yeah, unfortunately gives the unsettling vibe that that flame dragon isn't the only monster from SO2 that might manifest. Had Shibuya ever been this empty at all, at any time since the quake? 6 years ago there had been rubble everywhere, and I'd felt so alone as I faced what seemed like the end of the world. But this seemed different. Yeah, we actually now have a giant dragon. It didn't seem lonely. It seemed strange. The town was still pristine, but the people were all gone. It was like a ghost town. All the shops had their shutters lowered. They closed for the day, it seemed. Everyone had run off as fast as they could. It made sense after what they'd just seen on live TV. We tried to pay as much attention to our surroundings as possible as we headed forward. We were especially careful at intersections. Another monster like that dragon could come rushing out of the shadows at any instant. Yeah, it pays to be cautious. If we ran into one of them, we wouldn't stand a chance. Though we do have the power of D-swords. I could hear the faint sound of someone yelling into a microphone in the distance. I could see a patrol car in the distance, moving slowly. It was probably an officer inside the car using his microphone to urge people to evacuate. The car was slowly heading toward us. If we stayed out here, the policeman would tell us we had to leave Shibuya. We can't do that. That'll be at the end of our investigation, so let's not get
和樹、
spotted.
こっちだ。
I ducked down a narrow alleyway so the car wouldn't find us. I felt like a criminal running from the police. Of course, if the portal device's appearance really was our fault, maybe that wasn't totally wrong. Maybe. We ran left and right through the maze of alleyways and finally came out in front of Parku. I gasped at what I saw there and quickly hid in the shadows. Yeah, don't think I didn't see that out of the corner of my eye. There's another one right here. God damn it. Kazuki wasn't as quick as I was, so I grabbed her hand and pulled. I ended up pulling her tightly against my body with my arms around her.
悪い。
I quickly let go. Kazuki didn't seem bothered by it, she just adjusted her glasses.
今の見たか？
Yeah, there's no way we could have missed that. This time I quietly popped my head out to take a look. There was another portal device in front of Parker, and around it were 3 monsters, including another arc flame dragon. That's just fantastic. One was a yellow and black dragon. Was it a different colored version of the one that had eaten the reporter, which wasn't red, by the way? It was also green. Now that I saw it up close, I was astonished at its size. The other two were two-legged giants covered in thick white fur, a little less than 3 meters tall. Their arms were as thick as tree trunks. Oh god. Fortunately, none of them seemed to have noticed us.
ポイズンアークドラゴンとスノーリッチが2体かも。
A poison dragon and snow liches! God damn it, I thought they were yetis, but nope, nope, liches. Why? Why did it have to be liches? God damn it. Anyone who's ever played Forgotten Realms and Baldur's Gate know how dangerous certain liches can be. God damn it. Poison dragon. also a huge thorn in our side. But that is going to bring an end to this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Child, and when we return, adventurers, how are we going to get to the school out of this situation with what sadly stands in front of us? Anyway, as always, adventurers, until next we meet.